everyone, welcome to another episode of the Manu Sharma Show. Today with us we have someone who is a global market entry strategist and started a hockey project together with the Olympic world champion of hockey. Welcome Rob von Nes to the show.
Thanks for inviting me, Manu.
Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and how did your venture start in India?
I'm living in the Netherlands, in Noordwijk, close to the sea, halfway The Hague and Amsterdam. I travel a lot. I'm in international business development. It's my job to help companies going abroad. I made 19 trips in 4 years.
Wow.
Because of a hockey project. The governments of the Netherlands and India signed a memorandum of understanding wherein the Dutch government promised support in grassroots sports development. In the Netherlands, grassroots sports development is rather well developed. We have coach courses, we have sport management institutes, etc., etc. In my village, it's 86% of the children between 6 and 18 years are member of a sports club. So that means that almost every child is member of a sports club. There's millions of children. And then you have to organize it well to make sure that there is proper training, that there's competition, that there are referees, everyone well educated in this discipline. And that's what our government offered to the Indian government. Just as a support, we don't say we can better than they, but maybe with some ideas how we do it here, yes, we can help. So we made some trips in 2015 to see what's the situation there. Are we welcome? Because we're not there to tell them what to do, but we're there to help if they want our help. There was an interest in our support. And then we started to developing a plan, how can we help? And we call the project 1 million hockey legs. And that's an ambition because 1 million hockey legs is quite a lot in a country where approximately 50,000 children are playing hockey. Mm-hmm. But at least it shows the dot on the horizon where to go.
Which city did you go to the first time you went there?
Well, every trip you start or finish in Delhi or Mumbai just because of the connections. Yes. I have been in India once before for a business project, okay, but that was a year before we started this project. And then I was in Mumbai, in Bangalore, in Chennai and in Delhi. Mm-hmm. And by occasion the first projects in India for 1 million hockey legs were in Gujarat, okay, because there was the Vibrant Gujarat exhibition, yes, with a very active manager. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, this is nice and Gujarat is probably interested in hockey, so can you help us on our stand, the Dutch stand, and do some hockey activities there. Okay. And so we started in Gujarat.
Football is the national sport of Holland. How did you get affiliated with hockey?
I think I was 8 years old when I started playing hockey in my local village, and it was because an uncle of me was playing hockey, and I thought this is a nice game, and it was close to my home, and since then I play hockey. Last year I played my 50th season, so 50 years competition, league. I still do it with pleasure in the old men's league. But I still play with pleasure.
Lovely. What are some challenges you faced when you started your hockey venture in India?
Well, I'm used to work abroad. That helps. Mm-hmm. If India is the first country you visit outside the Netherlands, it is confusing. Mm-hmm. And still with my background in international business, India is different. Maybe I can give an example.
Yes, please.
I had an appointment with the Minister of Sports in Assam. Okay. They picked me up at the airport, drove me to the city, and then we went to a hotel. And I was surprised because we have more often meetings with ministers of sports, mm-hmm, but it's always in their office. And they gave me a room. I said, well, I don't need a room because tonight I have a flight to Delhi. I only stay here for the day. Yes. Yeah, but then you can fresh up. Okay, fine. I expected to have the meeting with the minister there. Yes. And when they opened the doors, there were about 70 journalists, 8 or 10 cameras. Okay. And a long table with the minister and the mayor and the chief of fire brigade and, I don't know, chief of police, all on a table. And they put me there. And suddenly I had to say something. Then I got all kind of presents, the typical Assam hat and the flowers. Then there was lunch. And after lunch, the minister was gone. So I haven't talked to the minister at all. Oh, really? But the next day it was announced in the press that 1 million hockey legs and the state of the government of Assam are going to collaborate in a hockey academy. So you were happy? Yeah, we were happy, but surprised. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you expect that you can start the next day with a big project, yeah, and it turns out to be nothing. To be honest, I've been 10 times in Gujarat and we still do not have a good project there. And sometimes you start a month or 2 months later.
Yes. Which resources are needed for this kind of venture?
We have quite a lot of projects on our list waiting to be started, but there's always funding needed, and sometimes it's a company funding the project. We have a big company together with Tata Trust and Tata Steel in Jharkhand. That's already running for 2 years and it's going really well. This month we start a project with Mahindra Agri in Nashik. Jet Airways is a sponsor. Big companies sponsoring are helping us further. For instance, in Bangalore, the Rotary were organizing fundraising activities to make school projects possible. Okay. The Dutch government helped us very much in the start and still in some activities. And private funding, we have a donation button on our website. Fortunately, many people use that button to support the project we are doing.
Okay. Could you share a moment when you had to change your strategy?
To be very honest with you, and it sounds weird since I am a strategy guy, we do not have a real strategy for the project in India. And it has to do that we have ideas how we can run school hockey projects, but it's all dependent on the funding. That means that if there is a sponsor, we discuss with the sponsor, we design the project for that particular case. But it depends on the moment that there's a funds available, and then we can start a new project.
How do you create awareness in a foreign country?
If you enter a new market, you have to arrange something that people know about you, and that very much depends on budgets as well. The big companies with the big budgets, they start on TV or cinema or below the line campaign. If we have a project together with the local partner, and in most cases it is the local partner who is creating awareness for it. So for instance, the project with the Rotary in Bangalore, it's a kind of pyramid. On the top there is a board of the district. In the district there are 96 chapters, Rotary clubs. Okay. All together it's 4,000 members. It's top down that they inform the clubs about the project and ask the clubs to create a budget for their area, their village, their part of town where they're based to start a school project.
Okay. If an SME wants to expand to different markets, what are some key challenges they can expect?
Well, the key thing is that as a company, you need to have a value proposition. You need customers. There must be a demand. If nobody's interested in your product, there will be no sales wherever you go. Next to this, you have to beat the competitors. Because if the competitors do better in whatever way, better product, better price, better marketing, etc., you have to beat the competitors at least at some areas. If you go abroad, you have to be aware of your value proposition. Is your value proposition applicable for that market? And it has to do with cultures as well. Good cultural understanding is really important in international business. We think from our perspective, and the Dutch perspective is a process-driven perspective. If you and me don't like each other, but you sell the product that I need for the price that I want to pay, I buy from you. 93% of the world is in a relation culture. So first there must be trust and there must be a kind of relation before I buy from you.
Yes.
You know, that is very often understood. Dutch companies think we have a great product, we can sell it, but they forget the cultural aspects.
What is the first thing you notice when you see a business plan?
That's an interesting one because I see a lot of them. I'm also an examiner for MBA students, writing the dissertation. I'm always looking for that value proposition since it's so crucial, and people forget it. They always tell what they're doing, or they give their mission statement, and their mission statement tells what you want to be in the future, the road you're following. But the value proposition is what you are, the reason of your existence, the reason that there are clients for your products. And most companies forget to get that very clear, and that's what I'm looking for in a business plan, because that makes if you're on the way to success or not. There are entrepreneurs who say, well, I don't believe in papers because it's going somewhere in your desk and you never see it again. It's not the document that's important, it's the writing of the document that's important, because writing the document is asking questions to yourself or things that you have to discover. In my opinion, it's crucial to write a business plan, and after you can put it somewhere.
Which areas in India has scope for expertise from the Netherlands?
India can learn from the Netherlands in certain areas, but the other way around, it counts as well. And I think we learn from India. India invests a lot in the Netherlands, and we invest in India. We learn so much from India in terms of ICT, and everything that you're developing in smart cities business is of our interest as well.
Yes.
Because our growth is evolutionary, because we grow for many years already. In India, the growth is revolutionary. So you take steps that we have taken but are not valid anymore.
Yes.
I always use the example of the landline telephone. In new areas, they have never seen a landline telephone. They immediately go to mobile telephones. So they skip steps that we have taken. That means if you enter a new market with new technology, in many cases you're ahead of the others who are already in the business but grow steadily.
Yes. Could you tell us something about your book that you've written about India?
It was nice. After 5, 6, 7 trips, I can't remember, I thought we have so much experiences now, very practical things as well, like don't go to the airport without a printed copy of your flight confirmation or boarding pass, because they don't let you in. And that's very different from Europe. So we had some experiences and we thought this is interesting to write down in a book. And in the meantime, I made several pictures. And there are about 20 people who contributed to the book by writing a kind of column. Dutch people living in India, having experience for many years, but also both ambassadors involved, because both embassies and ambassadors are very much supporting our project. So they both wrote a preface. Every now and then I write a book about strategy, but this was what we need to do. And the good thing about the book is that all the income is for projects that we run at schools with children in India.
Wonderful story, Rob. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us on our show tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. And it was an interesting conversation. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.